Candida, and it's everywhere.
Oh, I could not resist her if you tried.
Woo! Brussels sprouts.
Ooh.
Food has the power to express genetics.
Can I have steak and coffee?
Women are biohackers by nature. We're Lauren and Katie.
We're taking a look at the wildest health hacks,
Wellness treatments,
and the most cutting-edge biotechnologies,
we're taking you inside.
and unlocking the secrets only women could.
This is Biohack-HERS. Many of us have a good idea of what is nutritious and what is not. But what if every so-called healthy food is not supportive to every body? Today we're meeting with Teri Cochrane, a celebrity nutritionist, also known as the spiritual scientist. Thanks to her method of combining Western-based nutrigenomics and applied kinesiology with psychic aura body readings. From greens and fruits to steak and wine, it's time to investigate and eliminate the waste.
What we're doing here today is really finding a very elegant but simple way to optimize your nutrition and your supplementation plan so you can live your best selves. So the Cochrane Method is very much deep science of biochemistry and nutrigenomics, how food influences our genes and then our thinking and our spirit. We wrap that into a beautiful method that helps my clients really get into a state not only of health, but sustainable and vibrant health. What's so beautiful about our bodies is that they're constantly giving us feedback, and we now have the technology through science to really look at what our genes are telling us as well.
Taking in all this data about our DNA and genetics, as well as our intake form, and synthesizing everything together.
We take all those pieces and we are your matchmakers for food. Well, let's get started.
We need to get to the root of the problem.
We're gonna get to the root of the
Okay.
root of the root. So we're gonna start with you, Lauren.
We chatted through my genes, and she just highlighted what genes are a problem, or as she called a shark versus a minnow.
So the sharks are
Bad ones you
the
have to watch out
bad
for.
ones. So the sharks can take off a piece of your arm. The minnows are just gonna nibble at your feet. They're gonna be annoying, but they're not gonna like, whoa.
She had a way of prioritizing and breaking things down so that it just totally made sense.
As we look to your genes, you have the VDR TAC gene, which has to do how you assimilate vitamin D. You also have the MTHFR C677T polymorphism, and that goes to how you make bile.
Only someone with the deepest memory can pinpoint and put the story together the way she does.
As we go through it, fat, 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 fat. These are all genes that relate to fat metabolism impairment, right?
So have to be careful with fats.
Very careful with fats. Clearly, she had a fat metabolism issue and an insulin metabolism issue. And when we saw the genetics, yep. So fat and sulfur, and then oxalate.
Those are
foods
the
to
three
eat.
things to consider when I'm eating.
Absolutely.
And sulfur is kale and broccoli?
Yeah, killer kale, broccoli, and then the oxalates are spinach, almonds,
Almonds.
black beans, berries, all these
Those are the
healthy
things
foods.
I'm obsessed with.
All these healthy foods. Let's figure out a way to eat correctly so you're not further taxing your system. If you're being keto, that's a problem.
Which
that's a
is
problem.
what I was doing. I was doing keto and grass-fed butter.
Butter's amazing, butyric acid. That's good.
okay.
That's a really good
least I
one.
can
That's
keep
a
that
short
one.
chain fat.
Keep the butter. Teri seemed like she was this fountain of information, just kind of like bursting with thoughts and ideas.
So Katie, what's so fascinating around you is that your intake form, you're very healthy. Because I knew nothing about you from the intake,
Yeah.
but your genes told me. Your red zone in the CBS gene, I call it Central Broadcasting Station. Cystathione beta synthase. It's CBS gene. It has to do with a lot of sulfur. Sulfur has to do with neurology. She was highly neurological, electrical. You are what I call a caterpillar. And so
Does that mean I become a butterfly?
You do.
Oh,
you
okay.
do. Right. So you have these 1,000 little antennae that are always available to receive energy. You don't have to worry about fat metabolism or insulin. You can have dairy, which is really cool. Yes.
One of my biggest concerns was that I was going to get some news that I didn't like about some of my favorite foods.
So you have a lot of histamine genes. So for your foods, we've got to watch potentially foods that are very high sulfur and high histamine. The avocado is a high histamine food. Banana's a high histamine food. Oh my gosh, sprouted and fermented foods, kimchi, kombucha, kefir, yogurts.
Can I have steak and coffee?
Potentially, yes. We're gonna see.
Okay, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Once she has a hypothesis about what your issues are and what you should do, she then confirms that through the muscle testing.
All right, Lauren, you're first. And in the muscle testing piece, the body gives us real-time feedback around their potential imbalances. So this is gonna be our practice run. You're gonna put up your arm. Don't let me push you down.
Muscle testing is when you ask the body if something's good for it or not good for it,
No matter how much pressure I apply to you, I cannot push you down.
and it responds by going weak or staying strong.
What we're doing is a blind test, right? Now I have a vial that has a specific electromagnetic signature X. I'll tell you after we test. That's Candida, and it's everywhere.
Oh,
Okay. There was zero resistance. And then we gave her an antidote, which was undicyclinic acid, which is known to be a biofilm breaker. Her body rebalanced. Look at that. With that anecdotal support. You're gonna be able to coexist with Candida and not have it be a bully in your sandbox. So it looks very rudimentary. It looks very almost like voodoo magic. And why is this woman pulling on my arm?
And some people are like, oh, is it woo-woo? It's totally not. It's backed in science.
I have a biofield that surrounds us that's been proven by the National Institutes of Health.
Oh man, what was that?
Spinach, high oxalate.
Yeah. Oops. I knew that one.
She could not hold her arm up. Why? Because that signature interrupted Lauren's ability to have her nerves fire to that muscle to say, do not let Teri push you down. Killer kale has an oxalate property.
Get rid of that one.
And the whole time I was holding my arm with the same strength, I could not resist her if we tried. And Teri's not that big.
Mushrooms is a mold. Candida is a fungus.
No
What
mushrooms?
fungus among us. No thank
So
you.
no
thank you.
sauerkraut, no
thank you.
kombucha?
Ooh, nothing fermented or sprouted for you.
I'm really good with my diet. I get high off of thinking I'm eating healthy food. So it was actually quite confusing to find out all of these healthy foods that I was eating are actually bad for me.
This is oat. It's a high oxalate.
So don't eat oatmeal in the morning?
Bad, bad, bad.
I eat oatmeal, almond butter, and
Oh,
blueberries.
you're poisoning yourself. And we call that eating the right, wrong foods. Almonds, peanut butter. She failed all of her oxalate vegetables like spinach and even beets. These healthy foods could potentially be really kicking her butt.
I was aware of muscle testing. I'd had it done before.
All right, Katie, so now it's your turn.
So I had the basic idea down.
Don't let me push you down. Woohoo! So that was the Central Broadcasting Station, Jean. This is the CBS. This is the sulfur piece. Here we go. Wow, this is spinach.
And you're
I'm
applying the
pushing
same pressure?
pressure. And I work with world-class athletes. I can literally out-muscle them if I put something in their field that interrupts that frequency. Onion, it's okay.
Oh, I do not
That
like
is
that.
broccoli.
Most of the things that came up as not good for me were sulfur-based foods.
Brussels sprouts,
Ooh.
still in the sulfur family. She has the potentiality of having impaired sulfur processing. When we went down many of the sulfur vegetables, she didn't like most of them. So really interesting, cauliflower. So why is cauliflower passing and broccoli failing? Manganese and molybdenum, very, very good to calm the histamine response. The body's beautiful in the way that it just gives back this truth. Test this one.
Okay.
You asked about your coffee, it's good. Yes. Yay. Coffee actually can help modulate adrenal function when not overused. Steak and coffee, baby.
Sweet. Enough said. I'll change
Yeah,
everything
good.
else. Tell me what
don't
to
eat your
do.
sulfur.
Okay.
Don't eat your sulfur. After we finished our muscle testing, then we got into the energy work. Initially, I was reluctant to come out with this because I always wanted to lead with science, and science is trusted, right? However, we're also starting to see that we're really energetic beings. And
Is that more of the emotional body?
the emotional body, the spiritual body, the etheric body. And so I was able to share with them what I saw in their field. Katie, want to start with you?
Sure.
Okay. What I see in your field, there's a block in the heart. You are on some level energetically protecting that heart. For you, at 11. So at 11, something as you were transitioning from girl to woman, there was a shift in your field.
At that moment, I connected the dots about some of my childhood experiences. Just a transitional period with my parents kind of splitting up around that time. And I remember that's when my aunt moved next door to me, and she started really helping me a lot with my schoolwork. And so I started to retreat into I'm just gonna get good grades and that's gonna be my thing and I'm gonna just succeed. But it's also when I started to close off my emotion.
And that's what I see.
It was interesting to identify that point in my life, think back to who I was at that time and just say oh, it's okay for you to also be sensitive to your emotions and think about how you feel.
Always being safe with self,
Always having your heart open to yourself.
to yourself. And so that box of safety you can open up. So we rewrote the story, and that's powerful. And we have the ability to have that much of an impact over our beingness by an acknowledgement of something that no longer serves us, opening up to what will serve us. All right, Lauren, your turn. Okay, so what I see about you is a bright light. You're extremely curious, which makes you a phenomenal entrepreneur. So biofilm and fats, they're insulators. It's a form of protection. And so for a very long time, you have unconsciously tried to protect yourself. Does that make sense?
I didn't think I was giving her any indication that I protected myself. She is so spot on. I could not help but just release so much emotions because it's exhausting to have to protect myself all the time.
You don't have to have those biofilms and those bullies keeping you out of your clarity. But when the vision is occluded, because fat kind of creates a murky film, she literally had a shift. Biochemically, I will protect myself as necessary, but I don't need to cloak myself in this fat metabolism impairment. Now,
So the biofilm is the protection?
yes, it's energetic protection. And so if you're willing to let go of that biofilm, and if you are, we can let it go today.
Fucking hell, yeah.
Just say that was then, this is now.
That was then, this is now.
Say it with conviction.
That was then, this is now.
There you go. When we say that was then, acknowledging, okay, I needed that protection, I don't need it anymore, I'm now in alignment with who I am today, which is the curious, brilliant, luminous person, because what happens with biofilm, you can't be as bright.
Right.
Own your luminosity.
Amazing. I love it.
So she's really kind of this energy nutrition alchemist. My big picture takeaways were just to focus mostly on my energetic being, my state of mind, breath work, meditation.
Wow.
That those things are really affecting my health much more so than diet, with the caveat of just a few specific dietary recommendations.
The best part of my session with Teri is the part that I cannot explain to you on camera. It was her energy, her ability to say something and it connect to the deeper part of you.
Always trust it.
Trust.
They become their own body interpreters, so they are facile with their own body talk, and it's very powerful.
To someone who doesn't have access to Teri, tap into your intuition and ask your body if it's good for you or not, and just try to connect yourself. You have the answers.
We so underestimate the power of food, because food has the ability, much like a light switch, to turn something on that's very wrong or turn something on that's very right. Food has the power to express genetics. That's a big deal.